Let's talk about the nifal here. The nifal of hollow verbs. We can think of it from the standpoint of basically two sorts of ways that the nifal stem is formed. One is when the nifal is formed with the prefix nun. Remember, the nifal has a characteristic prefix nun in some of its forms. Where do we see it? Always in the nifal perfect, always in the nifal participle. We also have a nifal infinitive absolute form, which could use the prefix nun or the prefix hey. But here we're going to focus just on these forms that always use the prefix nun. Nifal perfect, nifal participle. And recall that in other weak verbs like one yod and one vav verbs, whenever aphoresis or contraction happen, remember aphoresis is when root 1 completely falls into Sheol. Contraction is when the root 1 contracts. In either case, root 1 undergoes aphoresis or contraction. When this occurs after a prefix, it's going to leave only two verbal roots, roots 2 and 3. And the prefix consonant then is going to be open and the vowel will be long. So just as a reminder, for the verb yashav, to sit or dwell, the cal imperfect is yeshav. Here we see roots 2 and 3. Root 1 is gone. This is the nutty prefix. And notice that it is open and long. Seri is a long vowel. Yitav, from yatav. This is my prefix. And there's roots 2 and 3. This is open and Keurig yod is long. Okay? Nolad, from the verb yalad, to give birth. This is the nifal perfect. He was born, or he was birthed. Notice that you only see roots 2 and 3. Contraction has happened here. And my nifal nun prefix has its vowel, and that is a long vowel, and this syllable is open. Nolad. And then the hifil of yashav, the hifil perfect, is ho shiv. Again, I only see roots 2 and 3 here. And then I have the hifil hey with its holam vav vowel after contraction. And so that's open and long. Okay? So this is quite frequent. Whenever we lose a root letter and are left with roots 2 and 3, my prefixes will be open and the vowel will be long. This is going to be the case with the nifal perfect and participle, as well as all hifil and hofal forms. These prefixes, these stem prefixes, are going to have long vowels and be open because in the hollow verbs there isn't a root letter to attach to and close. For the nifal, the prefix vowel is the long A, or the kametz, and the theme vowel is holam vav. Okay? And we'll take a look here in just a second. When we add consonantal suffixes in the nifal perfect, the prefix vowel will reduce to a vocal shava in an open proprotonic syllable, and an additional holam vav helping vowel is used, and the theme vowel will alternate between holam vav and shurik. So let's look at some examples of this. So in the nifal, for just the perfect, we have our strong verb. I've given this to you just to remind you. Nifkad. Nifkad. He was appointed. And for kum, it becomes nakom. Nakom. So here, nifkad, I get all three consonants. Here, with nakom, I only have two consonants, right? I don't have three. In the strong verb, the nun prefix gets to close a syllable with root 1, and I get a short vowel. Here, there is no consonant for root 1 to close with. So roots, the kof and the mem, form their syllable, and this is then going to be long and open. Okay? Nakom. Nakom. And as I mentioned, holam vav is the theme vowel here. Nifkada, for the strong verb, nakoma. Same kamete, same nun prefix, but with the long A and the holam vav instead of reduction here. Okay, so nakom and nakoma. Look at nifkadta. There should be a pathak here. Nifkadta and nukumotha. What's happened here? Well, we have a helping vowel. This Holam Vav comes in to help us get from the last root letter to the consonantal ending ta. So I get a Holam Vav here. And then the Holam Vav of Nakom has become Nakum. And because my accent is over here, this is open and propertonic, and it reduces to a vocal shava. So na ku motha becomes n kumotha. All right. I don't really expect you to memorize this. It just needs you to be able to recognize and parse this for what it is when you see it. How many verbal consonant roots do we have? Just 2. This noon is a nifal prefix noon, and that is the 2ms perfect. So you could still parse this if you just saw that form. Nifkadtem, and here it's nkomotem. The same tem, but the helping vowel is joining the consonantal ending to the mem of the root letter. And then I have a holam, which is a defectively spelled Holam Vav, and the reduced to vocal shava kametz. That would have been nakomothem, but the accent is way over here, right? So this is open and propertonic. Okay, the participle in the strong verb is nifkad. It looks just like the nifal perfect, except I have a pathak in the nifal perfect, and I have a long a here in the participle. Because we don't have a pathak in the nifal perfect of nakom, we can't make that a long a over here either. So you're not going to be able to tell the difference here. The participle is the same as the perfect 3ms, nakom. Now over here we have nkoma, nkoma. Here we do have the stress moving to the kametze ending, and so reduction of that na to n. That didn't happen over here. In the perfect, we're trying to keep the accent on the root 1, so it's nakoma, nakoma. But the participle is nakoma, so there is a distinction here. Okay? So that's the nifal perfect and participle. Real quickly, look at the 152 here, the nifal prefix hey forms and the nutty prefix forms. Remember, in our strong verb in the nifal, if we're not using the nifal noon prefix, then the other prefixes are the hey prefix, which we find in the imperatives and the infinitive forms, or the nutty prefixes, the noon, tav, yod, aleph forms. Okay? What about these? These forms employ all the prefix consonants that you have learned for the nifal strong verb, and the characteristic I-class prefix vowels and the Dagesh forte in root 1. Think yippicade. Remember, yippicade has the I-class vowel under the nutty prefix and the doubling down in root 1. However, the theme vowel is going to be Holam Vav instead of the typical A vowel sequence, as in yippicade. So let's just take a look at these forms and contrast them with the strong verb. Okay, so for yippicade, for the imperfect, yippicade, I get yikom for the hollow verb kum. Same yod, same I-class vowel, same doubling dot, okay? But I only have 2 consonants, so I can't add 2 syllables here like I can here with pakade, yippakade. So I just go to the Holam Vav, yikom, yikom. All right? Tipakadna for the strong verb, tikomena, tikomena. This sounds sort of similar. Notice I have the same I-class vowel and doubling dot. Okay, and then I have my Holam Vav here, and looky here, I got the helping vowel before the consonantal ending na. The WCI, vayippakade, here, vayikom. It's basically the imperfect with a va in front of it and a doubling dot. Okay, yippakade for the jussive, yikom for the jussive here. It's identical to the imperfect. Hippocade for the strong verb, and then hickom, hey prefix, but everywhere else it looks just like the imperfect. That's the imperative. Hippocadu and hickomu, hickomu. Just take hickom add the shurik. Just like here, you take hippocade, add the shurik. We had to reduce that to vocal shava. Here we're not reducing anything. That's an historically long vowel. Infinitive construct, hippocade. Here, hicome. Again, doubling down in root 1. Hey with the I class vowel. That's the same. And then for the infinitive absolute, we have hippocode, and here, hicome. There's also a noon form, but we don't really see that here. It's just the hey form. Okay, so those are the nifal forms. All right, let's look at the hifil and hofal of hollow verbs real fast as we can go. These forms employ all the characteristic prefix consonants that you've learned for the hifil and the hofal strong verb. However, since there are only 2 consonantal roots instead of 3, as we have with the strong verb, the prefixes in the hollow verb forms of the hifil and hofal will not form a closed syllable. Okay? They will not form a closed syllable. We saw this with the hollow verbs in the cal imperfect and the nifal participle and perfect. Instead, the prefix will be an open and a long syllable. Okay? It's going to have a serre or a kametz. We'll see that below, at least for the hifil. And then, since these vowels are changeable vowels, they will reduce to a vocal shava when they are in open proprotonic position. So let's take a look at the hifil and the hofal forms here. For the strong verb with pakad, I have hifkid. For the hollow verb, heikim. So notice what's similar. What's similar is the hey prefix and hifil perfix, and the fact that I have an I class vowel, right? That is true for the strong verb and the hollow verb. So heikim. I also have the Keurig yod theme vowel. That's great, okay? But only 2 consonants instead of 3 here. And so that's why this has to be open and long. Hifkida and heikima. Heikima. Same I class vowel, same Keurig yod. All right? And we're keeping that accent on the kof. And then for 2MP, hifkadtem. 2MP, hifkadtem. Here, hakimotem. What do we see going on here? I'm bringing in a helping vowel to connect my final consonant to the consonantal ending. I have my Keurig yod in the middle, and I have a reduced serre. The serre is open and proprotonic. It's got to reduce to a vocal shava. I can't put a vocal shava under a guttural. I have to go with a compound shava. So that's why that looks like that. All right. Now for the imperfect, I have yafkid. And for the hollow verb, yakim. Again, my vowel classes are the same whether we're strong or hollow. It's an A class vowel, and I have a Keurig yod theme vowel. But there's 3 consonants in the strong verb, only 2 here, so my prefix syllable has to be open and long. Okay? I have tafkedna for the imperfect 3 and 2 FP in the hifil. Here I have tukimena. What's happened here? Because I'm hollow, I'm a syllable short compared to what I normally want to do. I'm going to add this helping vowel to get to my consonantal ending in the imperfect. And this ah becomes vocal shava. It's going to reduce because it's open and proprotonic. My WCI form, or my Vayiktal form. Notice here that I have vayafkade. Remember in the hifil, we have some serre forms. Forms where normally I get a theme vowel Keurig yod. 4 places I get a serre. The Vayiktal or WCI form is one place where that happens. Over here, I have vayakem. It would have been vayakem with a serre, but my stress retracted. It went to the prefix consonant, just as we saw a little earlier in the cal imperfect of hollow verbs. And so my serre has become a sigol because this is closed and unaccented. Vayakem. The jussive, yafkade, for the strong verb, yakem for the hollow verb. almost the same. A-class vowel in both cases. Sere, sere, but it's open and long because I don't have three consonants where the first one can close the syllable here. Imperative, hafkade. So remember our sere forms here, and ha came. I have the hey prefix and the A-class vowel in both, okay, and the sere. Here, hafkidu, when I add my vocalic endings, my sere reverts back to its Keurig yod. Same thing here. Hakem becomes hakimu, to tell a group of men to do this, to raise up something. The participle, mafkid, mafkida. Okay? Over here, it's mekim and mekima. What's different? These are closed syllables. These are open. That's one difference. And instead of an A-class vowel, this is an I-class vowel here. That is different. So I'm going to use a sere here, mekim, and it's going to reduce to vocal shava when I add a syllable. Pull the stress back, it becomes open and propertonic. It will reduce to vocal shava. The infinitive construct versus the infinitive absolute. Remember, this is the difference between Keurig yod and sere. The absolute is sere in the hifil. Both of them have the ha prefix. For the hollow verb, hakim, hakem. They're identical to each other, except for the Keurig yod versus the sere. All right? Now, the hofal. With the hofal, I'm using in the perfect my characteristic hey prefix, and this is a kametz ketuf, which is U class. Okay, so I've got a U class vowel under the hey. For the hollow verb, I have a hey prefix, and I get a U class vowel, but it's a shurik. Okay, remember, it's open and long, so I can't use a short vowel like I do when I can close the syllable with root 1 and have roots 2 and 3 over here. My only two consonants are the kof and the mem of kum, and so this hey prefix has to be open and long, and so I'm going to use a U class but long, so it's hu. A vowel for the theme vowel, so hofkad for the strong verb, hukam for the hollow verb. All right? And this same pattern is going to work its way through the entire paradigm. Where I have a kametz ketuf in the strong verb and a closed syllable, I'm going to have a shurik U-class vowel, a historically long one. The theme vowels will be the same. So yofkad, here you come. You come. The WCI, va yofkad, here va you come. The jussive, yofkad, hollow, you come. Identical to the imperfect. Mofkad for the participle in the hofal, and mukam, again, mem takes a U-class vowel here. The participle has a irreducibly long A. Those are identical to each other. It's just that the front part is weak here. The infinitive construct and absolute is hofkad and hofkade. Notice here it's who come and who came. Okay? Same alternation in the theme vowel between the construct and the absolute infinitive, but it's who versus hof. Okay? All right. Here is the last thing to say about the chapter, and that is that there are some verbs that are hollow and they are weak in terms of having a guttural consonant as the final consonant, and nuach is such a verb. And in the hifil, this presents a few problems. This verb is going to behave like other three guttural verbs in the hifil, where a theme vowel Keurig yod with a three guttural root letter will have a furtive pathak under that root 3. Or if we have a theme vowel that's a sere, it'll become a pathak before a guttural at in root 3 position. So we're going to have that problem here. In addition, this particular verb, nuach, forms an alternate prefixing pattern, where we can have the normal prefixing pattern that we've seen, which would be prefixing the consonant with an open and long syllable, or alternately, we could see a dagesh forte in root 1, and the prefix consonant forms a closed syllable. And depending on which pattern nuach follows, it'll mean different things, slightly different things. And so here is a chart with just a couple of the forms. Ross gives you a fuller chart. Don't feel like we need to do that for our discussion purposes here. But what I want you to see is I've got pattern A, pattern B. Pattern A is where my prefix is open and long. Okay, so open and long. Here in pattern B, the prefix is closed and short. The prefix consonant is closed and short. How does that happen? Well, there's a dagesh forte in this form. It almost looks like a nun has assimilated, but we know from this verb that there isn't an assimilated nun here. All right, so let's just take a look at these forms. I have for the Hifil Perfect 3MS with pattern A, it's hey niach. The prefix hey of the Hifil Perfect, the I-class vowel, which has to be, if it's long, has to be the long I-class vowel, which is sere. And then the kirik yod in the middle gets a furtive pathak under the chet because it's a 3 guttural. So hey niach, which means he caused X to rest. Let's compare that with hin niach. Hin niach. The back part is the same. Kirik yod with the furtive pathak. What's different in pattern B is that the hey prefix has gotten a dagesh forte into root the nun, the root 1, and together this forms a closed unaccented syllable, right? The accent's on the niach. So when I have a dagesh forte here, this is closed and unaccented. I need a short I-class vowel, so I got to have a kirik rather than a sere. So hin niach means he set X down. So something's rolling down the hill. I use this pattern to say he caused it to rest. He caused it to come to rest. Over here, with the pattern B, it means he basically had something in his hand and he set it down in a resting position. All right. So the imperfect ya niach with the open and long prefix vowel here, and it means he will cause X to rest. Yaniach with the short A and the doubling down in the nun, he will set X down. And then the jussive is yanach. It should have been yanech, right? Jussives have seres in the uninflected form, but chet is a guttural, and so it becomes a pathak before that guttural. Let him cause X to rest. Yanach with the closed and short vowel, closed syllable short vowel, let him set X down. Okay, so same verb, different meanings depending on whether it follows pattern A or pattern B. All right, that was a lot of information. And I know your head is probably swimming right now. But go do the exercises, and a lot of these things will start to solidify a bit as we practice parsing.